You're listening to 90.8 Hills FM Radio.
This is 90.8 Hills FM radio station, using our voice to rate your choice. Stay tuned.
Hi, and welcome back to our live show here at 90.8 Hills FM. This is your RJ Gugu. And what time is it now? It's 5 exactly. It's great to have somebody on board this evening, and definitely something that we look forward to hear more. It's also a special request that has come from a young lady in Arunachal who has been after my life to get this lady speaker today, this evening, and we are so blessed and encouraged to have her, yes, and be here at the studio. I am also very, very excited because this is a subject that I normally run away from because I have my own issue of how to groom myself. I think I'm also excited at the same time because definitely this is something that each one of us should also be paying attention to, and something that is on a daily basis, but definitely it also plays an important role in your self-image and your confidence. With that note, let me not take much time from having you to wait. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are driving, if you have tuned in at home, or if you're working, I hope you have a wonderful evening with us for the next 1 hour. So you know how to get through the 90.8 Hills FM to tune in. If you like any of the contents that we're sharing this evening, please drop us a DM us and let us know how you feel. So ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you to Toinali Chophi, the founder of Beauty Barn, who will be sharing her insights and experience of working with Korean brands well known globally and how digital marketing is transforming the beauty space in India, but definitely in a small space like Nagaland. And I think as far as I've been able to understand in the short conversation offline that I've been having with her, where she was sharing about, how she started from scratch with no knowledge, but definitely today with her experiences that she has been able to teach herself, she has been able to nurture those learnings and experiences in her team members. And today they're leading the team, the brand. So definitely we're going to look at the workspace as professionals, but also how as an individual she has been able to gain her independence, not just in financial, but as also equal partner with her husband, and how both partners are able to play a great role in bringing this company in the visible marketing tool or field that we often don't hear much in Nagaland. So definitely not a very rare case, but definitely a rare in our studio to be hearing this part of her. And of course, there are a lot of other questions that I would be asking her. So I hope Tona is ready for that. So Tonali, welcome to our studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
So how do you feel? Are you still nervous? Not that. I don't think so. So how would you introduce yourself to our listeners? Because definitely I want you to give a shout out to Christy from Arunachal, who has stopped in requesting, your story to be out, because I think she was very, very inspired and encouraged, whenever she sees your reels. And she felt that a woman like you making such an impact in a small in a small place, but definitely inspiring even other people, to really see themselves empowered. I think that was something that really also inspired me to take forward. And I was saying, all right, once I'm back, I definitely will get in touch with her. And I'm so glad you said yes. So maybe you could say hi to Christy and introduce yourself to our listeners.
Okay. Hi, Christy. Thank you so much for recommending me. And my name is Toinali, or you can call me Toina, and I'm the founder of Beauty Barn. Like, I think many people have not heard about Beauty Barn. So it's an e-commerce shopping website. We have been dealing with Korean brands for the past 5 to 6 years. Yeah. So
Wow, 5 to 6 years. So e-commerce came. Who else? I mean, were you the only players back then, or you had some other competitors also in the field, as far as you can remember?
in the
Yes,
northeast
yes.
or
Or in Nagaland.
in Nagaland, yeah, I think there were a few players. Like initially, when we were starting out, there were a couple of Instagram shops, because that was way back in 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
So, how did you get into this whole digital marketing? And perhaps you can help our listeners to also know a little bit about who is in this team of yours. So, perhaps start with your team
Okay, so
or your partner.
so how did I start?
Yes.
Um, so like I got married very early, like right after my masters, and then my husband always said, like he'll take care of me and I don't have to work. But then like getting married and then just staying at home, I just felt like I could do more than that. And also like my parents, they wanted me to write exams, like competitive exams. So for the first 1 or 2 years I was preparing for the exams, but then studying the same subject over and over again, like I felt like this is not meant for me. I need to do something. I need to do more than this. And also depending on my husband, I just felt like I didn't want to be insecure. Like I wanted to be independent. I wanted to have my own thing going on. So then I started a series of small ventures, like so yeah. And my husband was kind of like, he was good. I mean, like he gave me the freedom to do whatever I wanted to do. And then those businesses were failures. So yeah, one after the other. And then in 2016, I think that was the time when the K-beauty culture was on the rise, especially in like US. And there were many YouTubers talking about Korean skincare, but it had not yet reached India. So I think I was lucky that I started during that time. And in 2017, like I really had, for me, I think like coming into skincare has always been like, maybe it was something for me, because I had like terrible skin since my teenage years, and all through my all through my adult, like I had acne prone skin. So then I almost gave up on skincare. I tried so many things, and for me, I didn't understand skincare until I started this Korean skincare. So I used to do like, what was in the market was lightening or brightening. So I would, my friends and family would recommend like, okay, why don't you try this lightening or brightening, or anti-aging or whitening. So I would try the whole line and it will not suit me. And then, I'll get acne. And so like, I think it was, I had my second son, and then my skin really got bad. That's when I hit, one of my cousins, she recommended me some K-beauty products. And when I started using, it kind of worked on me. Then I got into YouTube, and then there were a lot of like good things about K-beauty. So I said, hey, like, I think this is a very good place to start. And when I started out very small as a home-based Instagram shop. And then, about 6 months, like I went into, I started selling, and like I recommended it to my friends and family. And like, sometimes I used to carry the goods in my car and I used to drive. Yeah, but then I felt like there was a huge potential. That's when I asked my husband for his help. I asked him, can you please help me prepare a business pitch
Plan.
for a plan, a profile for, for me. And then like, let's go to Korea and, pitch with the companies.
That's nice.
So even without any experience, but since he was from the business background, so he was like,
Lucky
he was
you.
so he was very helpful. And then we went and like we pitched into a few companies. Some rejected, but the 2-3 companies that we started working with, they are doing so well even now. So that's how we got into the skincare business.
Wow. So the pitching went very well, that means.
Like there was one big company during that time.
Okay.
So I don't want to name the brand,
It's all
but
right.
yeah. So when we went in, we were very small. I mean, I was nobody. I was just an Instagram shop, and we were just trying to pitch in some fancy numbers to the brand, and they were not interested. Like they were not what do you call it?
They were not impressed.
Yeah. So they gave us a lot of terms and conditions, like you have to open the stores, like across India and whatever. But so we said we can't do that because we want to have multiple brands. And luckily for me, that brand shut down. Just like a few years back. So I'm so lucky. I'm like, if I had worked only with that brand, I would have suffered huge
Definitely.
losses.
Yes.
So yeah.
So how did that shift into multiple brand becoming, the plan that you had becoming a reality?
So, so I was really enjoying the whole thing. Like, I think I just found my passion. Like when I started the business and recommending products and doing research and then when I got into marketing, it was a whole fun for me. Like I really enjoyed doing the whole marketing. And initially, when I was doing the business, in 2017 December, we opened our website. We launched our website, and I was doing the customer care, packing.
Oh my
I was
God,
doing
you
everything.
did everything.
Yeah, everything. Social media managing, like Instagram, everything. I was doing it alone, and I had 2 kids now. And then 2017 December, we launched our website, and 2018 March, I had my third child. But then after 1 week of delivery, I was back to packing. My mom will call me and scold me. Not like, you have to take rest. You just gotta, went through a normal delivery, so you need to take rest. But I was really enjoying the work. I love working. I don't like to stay idle. So
Very restless,
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm like maybe a workaholic. So yeah,
So this started at the when you had your third child.
yeah. Around
Wow,
that
you
time.
were that active.
Yeah.
Oh my. So with this a whole lot of your journey where you've also faced, the first pitching, and then what were some of the learnings you've had from the first pitching as we continue with the second topic?
I don't like for me. I think even during that time, the companies that we pitched in, they were also like coming up, and they really wanted to enter India. And for me, like I said, I was very lucky because we were the first, like one of the first, companies that were interested in them. So if it was now, like 5 years ahead, then I would never have made it. But because since there was no players in the market, even the companies, they agreed to work with us. So maybe I was lucky that ways. Yeah.
So maybe the lucky stars were with you.
Yeah.
But the passion that you said that you found it very much began with the concern that you had for your skin,
Yeah,
right? And also the possibilities that you could actually bring in this to our state. So were you the only one who were actually going for these products, or you knew your market research led you to finding that there have been people who have already been doing it?
Like in the Northeast?
Yes.
Or for me, to be honest, when I started, I always looked at global players.
Oh.
Like there's a saying
Okay.
called, like, there's a saying that, if you have a goal of 100, you might reach 50. So like you might, if you have like, okay, I'm going to reach 100, then there's 50% chance that you'll reach 50. You might not reach 100. So for me, like when I started working, I never looked at the Northeast. I never looked at India. I just looked at what the global players were doing. And then I also told my team, when we started hiring teams, I always told them, see, you have to work at a global level. Like the content we create, it has to be that global standard. And that's how we were able to also reach India level, like at 50%.
My God.
Yeah.
So you actually played with this concept of looking beyond the horizon, with a bigger picture. And definitely you raised the bar for yourself to compete in terms of even presenting yourself. And definitely you have fallen into something.
Yeah.
So in that part of that, when you were planning, what were the things that you really had to prepare yourself with? Definitely you had your partner, but how did you prepare yourself? Since it was your first, second thing, it's quite a risk-taking opportunity that you did with yourself. So maybe some of these tips can help some of our listeners who may be starting something or maybe intending to start something.
So like I don't know where to start, but okay. So like I said, since I was handling the whole social media, customer care, so when I started hiring teams, it was easier for me because I started everything from scratch. So I knew what to do, what were the things that needed to be done. So like when when we hired teams, I started training the customer care team, then came in the content team, and initially even before the whole team came in, I had the studio set up. We have a studio. So I had the studio set up, and it was, my brother was helping me, and I was really struggling, but I really wanted to do it. I felt like, digital marketing and content was the future. I was also looking into trends in the market, and I felt that content marketing and that digital marketing was here to stay, and I wanted to do that. So we started with a blog, and I was not from a journalism background, but I started writing a few blogs, and I also did 1 or 2 YouTubes, but it was really hard. But then then I realized like, okay, maybe if I can't do everything also, maybe I can hire some few people. And that's when we started hiring one at a time. But then when we hired teams also, like most of the, like our teams, we didn't have any marketing background. So I nurtured them, I mentored them with my whatever the small experience that I had. And then that's how we grew.
So was it very difficult to actually pass on that knowledge and experience to your team, which were all freshers?
I think I don't know. I think we were having so much fun that I didn't feel like it was work. For me, of course, I did my hard work. I did a lot of research. I did a lot of how to create content. I read a lot of books. How to lead teams. For me, one of the biggest struggle was leading teams. Like initially, when we had like just 4 sales team, I was struggling how to how to manage them. And sometimes I would ask my husband for his help, and he'd be like, "You're also the owner, so why don't you do it?" Then it was like I don't know how to deal with people, how to manage people. So like I said again, I would read books or I would listen to some podcasts, and then just start slowly like picking up the skills. So for me, it was a long process because I never had anyone to mentor me. I learned everything from scratch. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, even to hear from you with such honesty of starting from scratch, but definitely even expressing the areas where your weaknesses were and working on it.
Yeah.
Because definitely that's a journey that nobody can take it away from you. And it has really shaped your team.
Yeah.
Any feedbacks while you were teaching them that discouraged you, or you felt that a turning point for you in that process of shaping your team?
So in the first few years, I think I didn't understand the difference between personal and professional.
Okay.
Being professional, and that's where there was a little bit of differences between me and my team, and there was a struggle at that time. But like now, I clearly understand what is personal and what is professional. And I always tell my team, like if I correct you, it's not like I'm not attacking you personally, but it's your profession. You have to be professional, and learning to differentiate between those two have really helped balance the team. Yeah.
I think that's why with this teaching, and also they accepting what you have taught them, what we see on social media is just the surface.
Yeah.
But a lot has gone in.
Yes,
In when we say nurture, it is not just teaching, but really walking and working with them. And I guess that's how the joy that you're able to show and reflect in the reels is definitely reflecting on those teaching. And I think that's why people get excited to see and be inspired. Toina, is there anything that you feel that when it comes to skin? So I really want to understand from your perspective, what is beauty in your definition? What is beauty?
I think for me, like I've come to understand, from my perspective, I think beauty is like self-love and taking time to care for yourself. And if you enjoy being yourself in your own skin, I think that's beautiful. Yeah.
Great. And what advice would you give to young girls who have this, and I think that's something very general and normal, and every generation goes through that, hopefully. But we do have a lot of young girls and young women who are not comfortable in the skin that they have. So there's a lot of effort to define beauty. And there's body shaming that's happening, or the beauty standards that's being commercialized. And how does this skincare that you have brought into the market here in Nagaland, how does it help improve the image of women, your clients? The issues that come with.
So for me also, I had a lot of acne, and it really I really lost confidence when I had acne. And I remember that there were times when I had to cover my face with a scarf and I didn't even want to go out. Because when you have bad skin and you don't look good, you don't want to go out.
Yes.
It really damages your confidence. But so having because skincare is not just skincare, but there's different types of skin, and the different types of concerns. So why K beauty, the Korean beauty really did well was because each product is targeted for a specific skin type.
Okay.
So I think, but other than that, I think it's very important to have a very basic skincare routine. Something just like you're, brushing your teeth. You just have a cleanser, toner, and a moisturizer. It's called CTM routine that you have to follow, like, every morning and night.
Religiously.
So yeah, actually, skincare should be like a ritual. It should be like how you're brushing your teeth before you go to sleep.
I forget sometimes to brush my teeth.
Yeah.
So I hope you'll forgive me for that.
It's okay. So for me also, like before I started this, sometimes I would sleep without with my makeup if I'm really tired, but I never do that anymore, like knowing that sleeping with all those pollutants, it's really going to damage and age your skin. So
So those are the basic routine to keep your
Yeah.
skin
So
hydrated.
it's
and
very
also
important that for our own personal self image, and I think it's very important to have a ritual. Skincare should not be like skincare, but skincare should be more like a ritual. It should be a habit that you insert into your life, and then do it religiously. Even if you don't do so much, if you have a basic skincare routine and sunscreen protection, then I think you are good to go. Yeah.
So how do you even get to know, okay, this particular product is right for my skin? Like I was sharing offline with you that a skin like mine is like typically oily. The moment I wake up, my T-zone is like you can fry an egg.
Yeah.
And my siblings, especially my two brothers, they would call me Pimple Queen. And definitely I have earned that title. It used to affect me a lot before in my self-image, but I think over the years, one of the things that I've really enjoyed, and I think why I'm really positive, is because later on I realized that my pimple doesn't define me actually, and I think that this mindset changing and also the attitude really matters. But yes, I do agree to what you're saying about taking really good care of your skin really matters. Because a person like me, I'm always everywhere. I would be in a truck someday, and I actually travel in a public transport. And when I travel, when I look at my toiletry bags, what do I put in, And I see most of the times I just have a toothbrush and my toothpaste and my deo. That's it. But when I see my friends, I see this whole lot of, cosmetics and skincare products, and I'm quite lost how they diligently and sincerely they take care of their skin. So I'm quite excited to hear from you that if I were to be your client, and I'm hoping that I become one of your client, what advice would you give me, Gugu, that you should do this? So yes, what would you say to a person like me who has no routine?
Like I said, even if you don't have any you don't need to have a 5 or 6 step skincare routine. But if you have a good cleanser, a good moisturizer, and SPF, then you're good to go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So
And also like you said, you have oily skin. Even for me, I have very oily skin, and I know that there have been times when my skin also had a lot of oil, and it, like you said, you can fry an oil.
no,
I mean, you can fry egg. So I didn't understand that if you have a routine, and if you have if you're doing a toner and a moisturizer for oily skin, your skin actually balances out the oil, and it doesn't produce too much oil. But if you just leave your skin so that's what happened to me. Like when I had oily skin, I said, oh, my skin is so oily, and I'll just wash my face and try to dry it as much. But then what happens is your body thinks that your skin needs more oil, and it produces more oil. It's like a voluntary, involuntary thing. So if you take care of your skin, and if your skin is balanced, then your body it naturally balances, and it doesn't produce so much oil. So for me now, taking care of my skin and having a basic skincare routine, now I don't produce so much oil as before. Most people think that if you put a moisturizer, you're going to get more, your skin is going to get more oily.
That's what I was told.
Yeah, but actually if you use the right moisturizer for your skin type, then your skin starts to balance out over time. So you need to have a basic routine.
And I think it also requires disciplining.
Yes. So it's like atomic habit, so you have to insert it into your life.
Gosh, I think the more I'm going to sit you with a few more minutes, I think I'm going to become more conscious and definitely a reflection of not being a very good girl in disciplining when treating my skin well. How would you recommend for elderly women? And also, okay, let me take an example of my mom. All right, so mom has a beautiful skin, and she doesn't use anything at all. So how would you recommend if you had a client walking in like her who is in her what? She's 69, and she doesn't have any acne or the maps that we were talking about. As you age, you have them. What would be her basic? And she's dry skin.
If she's dry skin, like I said again, cleanser, then maybe a good serum, anti-aging serum, and like a good moisturizer, and of course sunscreen is always compulsory.
Great. So are all these basic routine that you are sharing? Is it an expensive affair?
See, like, of course, it's a little bit of investment, but like one set of products, you can use it for 3-4 months. So it's a good like investment,
3-4 months.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good investment actually.
Yeah.
And
And it's worth it because you get confidence when you have better skin.
okay, I'm hearing you out. Well, trust me, listeners, I was very, very conscious, honestly speaking, because Toina is somebody who really takes care of herself and grooms very well. So I was telling her that she said, hey, let's take a picture. And I'm like, oh my goodness, no, I don't know how to stand next to you, But definitely, everybody has a different level of confidence that they get the confidence from, and it's always good to meet people to inspire you to actually level up, in a positive way.
Yes.
And I think people like us who are in the public domain and who actually work with people definitely requires more on that, and also a positive message to our girls and women who actually are also damn care more like me, who really just get a sunscreen and that's about it, or even wash with Lifebuoy also chalta hai, so everybody has a different skincare routine, but it is interesting to know that how your business has actually been doing very well. Would you mind sharing with us that how has it caught attention of your customers? What did you do differently that made your customers attract towards the product?
I think like the most important thing in any business is like how you can give more value to your customers. So whenever we create content, like from the beginning, like now to our team, we are very comfortable like creating content. It's like a piece of cake for us, but initially when we were starting out, it was really difficult. But I always tell my team, like, when you create content, don't just create content for the sake of creating, but always ask yourself, how can I give more value? How can I help someone? So like, so we have been educating, we don't just sell. What makes us stand out is we don't just sell. I mean, we're like, there are so many other e-commerce platforms, and post-corona, there have been so many big, corporates who have started selling Korean skincare. It's not only me, but like we always focus on ourselves and how we can give more value, and that has also helped us stand out from the the rest of the competition.
So everything that you have been doing is intentional.
Yes.
Yeah, so the intentional output definitely influences people to be wanting to be part of that. Any testimonials from your customers who have used your products?
Yeah. I mean, we have
We
so
would
many.
love to hear.
I'm the testimony.
Definitely,
I'm the living
being
testimony.
That's definitely
Because I like I said, in 2020, I had a really big melasma. Like I suffered from melasma, and it was really bad. And it was like I started asking myself, like, okay, I own a skincare brand, and then I have melasma. Like, what is people gonna say? Like, does your products work? But then. And initially when the melasma appeared on my skin, I was really frustrated for the first few months. But then I told myself, hey, like I did a little bit of research, and it was said that it's not curable, but you need to have a lifestyle change. You need to have it might be due to your hormones, and you need to have a good diet, all these things. So I started thinking more positively and tried to have a less stress-free life, and also like I started I actually gave up on my skincare also in between. But then I'm like, okay, let me start again. And then like I religiously did my skincare, and over a like period of 1, 2, 3 months over the time, like this melasma just got away. So I mean I'm the living testimony.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's definitely an encouragement to a lot of us where we ignore. I mean, lifestyle definitely plays a big role, and it shows on your skin, on your health, whatever.
And
internal-
like if someone with good skin, and like I mean some people are really blessed with good
Yes,
skin.
yes,
So
they
if
are.
it is someone selling, I mean it wouldn't make so much sense. But for
Yes.
me, I really struggled with bad skin. I still struggle with pores, blackheads. I mean any like skin condition, I've had it. So like I know, like I know which products worked for me, so that ways I can recommend, and it has also helped so many people. So I mean,
So
like,
they've come back-
So like
yeah.
having bad skin has been good for me. Yeah, I've
Well.
made a business out of my insecurities.
Did you hear that? She made business out of her insecurities, which turned out to be positive, and it worked. And I think that's and yeah, I mean, unless you test yourself and you use it, how would you be a living testimony
Yes, yes,
that
yes.
this product actually works?
And then if you are not authentic, like if you
Yeah.
if you sell a product, and even if you have not used it, you just like fake it, people get it, people get the vibe.
Of course.
But if you are really authentic, like people also get to trust, that. So and it's so important to build trust in business for a long term. Yeah.
Wow, I mean, so what are the values of your company?
I mean, for us, one of the most core values that we have is to have a happy culture, like happy work culture. I think that's so important. I don't encourage toxicity at the workplace, and like whenever if I see any of my teams like with dull faces, I always call them and ask them like, what's happening? Like lighten up, like So for me, like having a positive work culture, and like I think because we are spending half of our time, like you're spending 8 hours a day at work. So I mean more than your home you're spending at work. So I think everyone has to be like a family and helping each other instead of being that competitive. So yeah, that's something that I encourage.
That's really nice. I think a lot of people, after listening to you today, may start knocking on your door and say, Madam, can we get employment here? we also
do
want
get
to
a
have
lot-
happy
everyone-
people.
We do get a lot of requests,
Oh,
like
really?
if there's job openings, because I mean we have so much fun
Yes.
at work.
Yes.
And even our teams, we are like friends. So everyone's like, we want to be a part of your team.
I think that's,
Yeah.
you're sending out a very positive vibe out there. People who may not know you, but just looking at you also gives them the hope, and I think that's an important role plays that all of us have. So taking that forward, what are the funny incidents you might have had in your workplaces that has been something to remember? Any particular incident that has made you all remember, okay, this is something that's going to stay with us forever?
I can't think of anything like I mean I don't remember. I'm sorry, but I don't remember any, like I mean we have been having so much fun. So yeah.
So there's a saying, when you actually tell the truth, you don't even remember what you have already spoken,
Okay.
because there's no residue left. And I think these are the little joys that you don't lock it up, but you freely give. And that's the vibe that we have received. And I think that's the intentional, when somebody actually wanted you on board and wanted us to have, be interviewed. And it takes a lot to be recommended. If you're making a difference in a person's life who has never met you but is happy seeing you growing and making a difference, that itself is a huge message that you're putting out, and it comes with a lot of responsibilities. So where do you see your team, your company going in the next 2-3 years? How old is it now?
So we are about 6 years now.
6 years. And when is the anniversary?
December
Yo,
15th.
okay.
So I think this year will be the 6th year.
The
Yeah,
6th year. So any plans up your sleeves for the 6th year?
Yeah, no, we have a lot of plans, but maybe once we, once those plans come to life, maybe we will come and share again.
Oh yes, we
Yeah,
would
we
love
have
to.
big plans for the team. I mean, we are going to keep growing. We are not stopping anytime soon.
So are you planning also to have a branch back in Kohima?
For us right now, we're focusing on our own, like, I mean, e-commerce. I mean, right now everything is digital, and everyone is, I mean, most of us, we are shopping online. We don't want even to go to the nearby store. Like for me, I've started shopping even my detergents and everything online. I mean, I don't have time to go, so
Well, you yourself, you're somebody who's promoting digital, right?
Yeah,
So
so-
definitely you would be ordering
and I think
things.
like we have become more lazy now. Like we have become so.
I am
used
so
to
glad you said that about being late. I think we are. It's like, this whole thing being just a
just
press
at the
of a
click of a button.
Yes.
So,
But
so
do you
right,
not think that we're losing out human touch on that?
I mean,
I mean, of course, it
yes,
has plus and minus. So maybe
social
what is
media,
your-
like for me, it's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
Yeah, so either like if you're like if you're using it to grow your business or to grow yourself, it's a very good tool. But if you're there watching people and looking at what others are doing, then you start comparing yourself, and it goes into a whole like whirlpool of so like it. I mean so you have to know how to use it,
So I'm going to
and
ask
the
you.
balance is very hard.
Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
going to ask you a very silly question. What is the laziest thing you've done by ordering online? Something that you could have done it easily by going. Any laziest stuff that you've done like ordering online?
I mean, now I've started like my body care or everything. I mean, I order everything online. I don't go to. I mean, I don't get. And the Dimapur traffic is so bad. I don't like to go to town anymore. So I mean, I've started everything.
Everything online?
Yeah, I
Even
mean,
vegetables?
vegetables. So I call, I call, and then
See,
I have
I still-
someone pick up.
So definitely this has, of course, it makes your life easier.
I mean, way back I had time, but now it's so difficult for me. Like having 3 kids and like trying to juggle life and work. So for me,
So we're coming on that. Now that you've started that conversation, how do you balance as a mother, as a wife, and as a businesswoman? I mean, who is that? Where do you get these extra hands? Not that I'm not saying that women can't. Women have always, but definitely with such a supportive partner that you have. How does your daily routine look like?
So for me, like I have this, chunk of like hour in the morning where I have time for myself. Like either I'm like just like reading a book or journaling, or sometimes I work out. So I mean that's the time, like my self-care time. So I think like having that hour in the morning really sets me up for the entire day. So then after that, like I wake up my kids and I try to spend time with them. Like so I have chunks of time during the during throughout the day where I try to dedicate my time to my children, and then when they are at school, then I go to work. But by the time they come back, I'm also home and I take care of them. So like just trying to juggle a lot of things. But sometimes, of course, there are like every day it's impossible to balance, but there are priorities. Like some days I prioritize my children and some days work. So yeah.
And in this whole juggling, so you basically become a juggler of life. How about definitely there are struggles. So how do you manage this emotional side of yours? Because it's so much of you being taken apart,
Yeah.
and you're a human being. So in this modern time, because we often hear our grandmothers and mothers saying, "Oh, Mogando, we've taken care of all of you without any nanny, sanny, all by ourselves." And the modern day women seems to have difficulty even managing a child, even if the person is not working. So how has it been for you?
First of all, I do have help, like, so they've been my lifeline, my support system, and I have a very supportive husband. So I think, having all this lifeline, takes a lot of my chest. And then in terms of emotional, like I said, for me, I've been like, when I was in college only, like I started doing a lot of personal development, like work. So I think those have helped me, like help balance life and help dealing with I work on myself a lot. So I invest in myself, in my education, in my self growth. So I think those things have helped me like balance a lot of things and manage life.
That's so
But
nice.
of course there are difficult times where there are days when you just like oh my god, I don't think this is possible anymore. But I think I feel like life is a battlefield. Every day like okay, I'm going for another war. Yeah.
I think that's a great example. In fact, I'm so glad you're also sharing this because these are real issues. Issues not in the negative sense, but that's life,
Yeah.
right? And to have a support system, that ecosystem where you're thriving with a lot of sacrifices from everybody, I mean, that definitely is a teamwork.
Yeah, and then one thing I've learned over the years, like my if I look back now, like life is like a roller, even in terms of business or in terms of like relationship or I mean the whole life, it's like a roller coaster ride. And for me, my more than the highs, I've had the lows, but then the lows have been the times where I've learned the most. Even though now like I always tell my team, or like if they're going through some difficult time, I always tell them, I think it's time for you to grow.
Oh,
yeah, because
that's
for me,
nice.
like the times that when I was at my lowest have been the times when I've grown the most. So now if I face a very difficult situation, I always ask myself, like, what is this trying to teach me?
So that's a very
yeah.
good way of realigning
But
yourself.
yeah, but if we
Yes.
get stuck and you're like, oh, I'm a victim, like life is happening to me, like, then I mean you just get stuck.
Yes.
But if you want to get out of it and you want to grow, means you have to ask yourself.
I
Yeah.
am so glad that you have that reflections, and that also wants me to ask you: do you have mentors in your life?
Not as such. Like I do, like I mean, I have good. What do you call it? I read a lot of books, and yeah, there are YouTube. Like I love Robin Sharma, so I love his books.
Yeah, there's a
So,
lot
I mean,
available
they are
out
like my
there.
mentors only, but I don't have any specific like human mentor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So
think
one thing which like I wanted to share also was like like during the corona time, that was I think 2020,
Yes,
right?
2020.
So 2020, and then when post corona, when we started the business, when business opened up, like there were so many other like big corporates starting K beauty business.
Yes.
And then initially I got so depressed, like oh my god, like these people, they have like, I mean, they are big corporates, how am I going to compete with them, And then like for 1 month I was really depressed, and I was like sleeping at home, and I had a lot of hair fall. But then I'm like, what's the point of thing? Let me focus on myself. Let me just focus all the energy on me and how I can be better than whatever I'm offering, instead of looking at what others are doing. So I started focusing on our team and how we can be better than the other, like whatever they're offering, or in terms of our service, or in terms of everything. And then that just, it was a like whole takeoff for us.
So
Yeah.
that's why you're saying that your lowest was always about growth.
Yes.
Wow, that's quite a testimony that you have there, and I do want our listeners to be encouraged by that, and I'm definitely sure that they are, because we really don't know what the other person is going through. But definitely a story like this with real experience helps us to also get inspired that if she could, why not me? So I want to go to a first question of our live talk. So there are a couple of questions. I hope you don't mind answering them. Great. So the first question is from G. Amuga Shoho. Madam Toinali, you are an inspiration to so many women. What would you like to tell the listener and to many other young girls, and advice from your side?
Okay. I think investing in yourself, and like investing in yourself, in your education, that is the best thing that you can do for yourself. Once you know yourself, then I think facing the world becomes so much easier. So I think for me also, initially the struggles were when I didn't know who I was, but now I think I'm more confident about myself because I know myself better. So yeah.
Great. So, Muga, you have your answer in that, and answer to all of us. So this is the second question.
Okay.
You know what? I would love if you read the last two yourself. They'll be happy.
3 tips to diet for good skin.
Woohoo!
Good
Okay, I'm not
skincare.
dieting, okay, but definitely she wants to diet. Yeah.
I think like if you're going through bad skin, I think juicing is very good, fresh juices, but mostly vegetable juice. And then like for me, cutting down on sugar has really helped me like combat acne skin. And like when I have a lot of sugar, I always notice that my skin is more oily. So yeah, reducing your sugar intake and oily fries, and yeah, more vegetables and drinking lots of water. I think that would be it. So, what profession? The next question is from Sedevino. What profession or career would you be doing right now if not in beauty skincare?
All right. So Devino has just put Tonali on the spot.
So yeah, right after I got married, like my parents and in-laws also, they encouraged me to do government job. So I had a teaching job, but then like a government teaching job. So I was doing it, but then once the business took off, I just thought like it would be greedy of me to have both. And even though some of my families recommended me that you should keep it because it's your security, I mean, you don't know what's gonna happen to your business. You should always have it as a security. But for me, I just felt like, okay, since I'm doing well, I think it's fine. So I mean, I gave up on the job. But if I was not doing this job, I think I would be teaching.
And thank you so much for being honest and not being greedy and less burden to the society, because we have a lot of people who have taken teaching jobs but have failed to play the role of a teacher. And I think you set a very beautiful example where even in terms of insecurity, is being responded well because the confident level that you had and how your business was doing well, and that sets definitely an icon for what you do. So this question that is coming up next is how do you this whole business and definitely to the question of how has being financial independence, do you think this is essential and important for a woman, whether married or unmarried?
So I don't know if I should say this, but when I was growing up, of course, my parents always encouraged me to, like that women should be independent and we should work. But I have come across people who have always told me, like, Maiki khan to kam nakorle hoi jao, like you get a good husband. And I think it's a really wrong concept because, it has also led into a culture of like, nowadays, like girls are looking for like sugar daddies or whatever. So like first know your self-worth, and if you invest in yourself and if you are empowered, you'll never be used by people, right? So I think it's so important to be financially independent. I mean, the freedom that you have and the like whatever you can do for your family, it's really good. I mean every woman should be like, you should work, invest in yourself and be financially independent. It's so important no matter what. And and suppose if if you have a like your husband is doing a government job or he's well off, and what if like one day he passes off, I mean he dies, then what about you? Like how will you manage your life, right? How can you depend your life on someone? And if he's not there, then I mean your life will be so insecure. For me, that was something that I never wanted to have, like insecurity. And I was like, if I'm doing well, my husband is taking care of me, and suddenly he's not there, then like what will happen to me, right? I mean I don't want to have that insecurity. So I think it's very important for every woman to be independent.
I think you really strike an important chord in that, especially the codependency, as husband and wives, as couples, with all the love and care a husband gives to his wife. After him, the woman who is, first of all, doesn't have any work in the sense a professional degree or no education, and then is left with taking care of children, and there's no support system, and definitely the kind of society that we live in, it becomes a burden, and even children's get divided. They're sent off somewhere else because somebody has to take care and manage. And this is a very sad story of many families. And the reason why I also asked you as a businesswoman, but also with a sense of pride and hard work that you have put on yourself, and a supportive husband and family that you have, it was also coming from a place of how your ideology of being independent, to have ownership of your life and being able to contribute even to the family wealth is an equal ownership of both husband and wife, and not just the husband alone, So this is something that has often been a challenge, And I'm glad that we're talking about and the kind of thinking that you have, where you said that we need to know ourselves, we need to work on our weaknesses, we need to find the right support system who believes in you and also dreams along with you, because so that even if one person goes away in that partnership, you know, your life is actually secured on that foundation that you both built, and it's just not one partner working on that. And definitely, why wouldn't a man not be happy to have a partner who's equally contributing to the wealth of the family, right? So I think this thinking has to come in. So this is a great concern, because I, as a social worker, and with many of my other friends, we have come across women who are not financially, sounded. I'm sorry, you're coughing so much. Yeah. So listeners, what we're trying to also do is really helping to understand the business perspective, but also in the line of how important it is to equally be financially sound, not just on one-sidedness, but how can we actually play a role in complementing and being a support partners. So on that line, Toina, I wanted to ask you, do you think that it is not possible, or is there a possibility how we can encourage our people to do business without charging extra? Because I'm sure you've come across look be vocal for locals and locals for locals, but definitely that seems to be going a little opposite, because when we want to support our local entrepreneurs or local business people, they charge a different times of holding, compared to a person who's not a local, and we prefer going to a non-local person, so where do we think as business people we're going wrong? What should we do to make people be attracted to local business?
So for me, I think, like overcharging in the business, I think it comes from like lack of awareness. I would say, like, I don't know if I'm saying it right,
Okay.
but not knowing how to do business right. And I think if you look at non-locals, like they think of like, okay, for us we want to sell one product and we want to get like double, the double the amount. But if someone like non-local sells, they'll prefer to sell 10 or 20 of that product and get, so I think I think it comes from not knowing how to do business. And I think nowadays, so many entrepreneurs are coming up, and I think we are becoming more aware of that. Yeah.
So, are we also saying that we need to do more on the awareness of how to do business?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
where
And
should we start?
looking at things from a different perspective instead of just one perspective, and like, okay, let me just sell one and get double of this. Instead of that perspective, I think we have to look at the broader perspective and how others are doing and learning more about business. Even for me, learning business, doing learning the art of business, it was like, I learned on the go, but before like, like if I look at myself like 5 years back, I didn't know what I have. Like the skills that I have today, I didn't knew back then. So I think it's we should. There should be more awareness about how to do business.
And when should we start this conversation? Schools, colleges, because we can see that a lot of entrepreneurship skills and development is happening in the state of Nagaland and all over the country, because business is the only way to make the nation go forward. And we're also trying to reduce the burden in the government sector, because as far as the Nagaland state is concerned, we're overloaded, overemployed, and a lot of effort is being made to help young people also to see themselves as businessmen and women, and there has always been a saying that, oh, Naga Manuto, we never had business in our blood, you know. But is it that saying that is also blocking our mindset?
Yeah, I think there is a belief, that always makes us stuck. For me, if there's a belief, I always don't like to, like I always try to think out of the box, and I don't believe in that belief. So, so yeah, I think, maybe that's one belief that may be limiting us. But also, I think, yes, in schools also, like, if there is competition and where children are made to sell and experience, because I think experience is so much important in learning and understanding the whole, how to do the thing. So I think it starts from schools. But yeah, I think, there are so many, like YouthNet, and I think there are so many other organizations that are doing a good job of mentoring. So,
So you also said about the marketing, where you learn from the scratch. Would you mind sharing a little bit on that? What made you get interested in the marketing? To acquire the marketing skills, which you definitely did a lot of research and online studies. So would you please share some basic tools to our listeners? Because we really run away from sales and marketing. Oh, itu tu moi kan
So
kan,
for me, when I started when I got into the business, and then I understood that marketing is the lifeline, the blood flow of the business. Like, no matter what, even if you're a doctor or even if you're a business, I think you need to know marketing to sell yourself. So when I understood that, for any business, you need to know marketing, because that is where the cash flow comes. So unless you understand, no matter how good your products are, it's very difficult to sell. So marketing is so important. It's the core of business. And I think learning how to market has really helped me scale my business. So yeah, you need to know marketing. And
So how does one start?
we live in a world of content, information overload. You can just go to YouTube and you can search. There are thousands of content on how to do marketing. Like, of course, you need to know. You have to always, number one is in business is like how to give more value to your customers. And instead of thinking from yourself, you have to think out, or like think from the customer's perspective. Yeah.
Great. So I think, are we looking at doing that someday you would do a session on this experience of yours in teaching other people how to learn the ABCD of sales and marketing? Do you see yourself doing that?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, for me, I'm open to anything. I think we should be open to learning and growing. So, I'm open to anything as long as I'm learning. So, yeah.
I think this is something that I'm really interested in, because when we were sitting before we went online, going live, I really appreciated you when you said, hey, Google, why don't you do it like this? To be even be caring enough to say that, it means a lot, and it just hit me, and I said that, wow, these days nobody says that to you, how to improve. And there are also times where people are not very receptive of such concerns when somebody comes with a good thought, like, I think these things can help in increasing your product or your productivity. And this is what we need in our society, where people are actually helping and educating one another from their knowledge and experiences. And just this morning, I was sharing with an elderly in the church that when somebody who has just retired and got reinstated into the system to be a mentor, I said, for us young people, we feel that many of our elders are being underutilized because their knowledge, their
The years of
experiences, oh,
experience,
definitely,
yeah.
these are gold mines, are just sitting. We're not able to bring that out
Yeah.
into our society. And definitely when they become mentors for young people like us, we could actually really achieve beyond what we're thinking, and I really appreciate when people actually come forward and take a chance on themselves in coming and sharing what they know, and even be part of that conversation in building the community. My last question, and definitely I think you're really relieved by that. How did you, I know you've shared this already, but what helped you to come back, when you also, and we didn't spend on that too much, you said about having to face a lot of failures in businesses before you actually bumped into this, and this became a success, and we wish that this will continue to be a bigger success. So how did you respond to those failures, because you were alone that time? Yeah.
For me, I'm always like very persistent. If I I need to for me, like initially when I started, I wanted to find something that would that I really enjoy doing. So I was very persistent. Like even if it's failure, I don't give up easily. So I think that's been one thing that about me that has helped me find the purpose of my whatever I'm doing right now. I'm very persistent. I don't give up, and I'm very stubborn. So
Stubborn used in the right light.
Yeah.
On that note, I would also like to ask you any word of encouragement to our listeners and also to your team.
I think no matter what you're facing or where you're, I think it's so important to be grateful and to be positive. And I for me, even in the most difficult times, being grateful and just reflecting and being grateful of the things that I have, I think it has helped me navigate my life into a better direction. So I think
Great. Thank you so much, Toinali, for doing this with us. For me, I have thoroughly enjoyed, and I hope you've
same
enjoyed.
here, I've enjoyed too. I think there's so much to talk.
I know, but we'll have to come to the
Yeah.
end. But we definitely, like you said, coming back with another series, and would love to have your team,
sure.
to be part of this conversation as a continuous relationship that we wish to build. And there's another thing that I would like to tell our listeners is that every little story that we share here in this little space of ours in the studio, and with 90.8 Hills FM, its effort is to bring out human stories, the human libraries of Nagaland, and irrespective of wherever you come from, whatever you are doing, and it is our intention to intentionally inspire and learn from each other. And we hope that you've enjoyed our live talk today, and if there's any more questions or comments after listening to us, you know where to DM us, and I'm sure Toina would be happy to respond or even say thank you, because we're very grateful for all those who have tuned in today, because you've taken up time actually. And we are definitely have created a space of friendship, and we hope that we will have more such stories. And do let us know if there's any other stories that you wish us to cover, and we would definitely make sure that we have on board, because we just made Christy's dream come true by having Toina on board. And thank you. And what more can we say but hit it with more music, and I hope you enjoy the Sunday evening with us. So goodbye and see you soon.
You're listening to 90.8 Hills FM Radio.
This is 90.8 Hills FM radio station, using our voice to rate your choice. Stay tuned.